Hello, it is Saturday, March 6, 2010, and this is your daily dose of reptile news. A dead bison was found in a cashew plantation. This normally, I guess, wouldn't be a big deal, but the bison was the state animal. State officials were called out to inspect the bison, which had no external wounds on its body but did have blood coming out of its mouth and ears. It was determined the bison was a victim of a snake bite. They say the bison died about 4 days ago, and they decided to cremate it because the horns and bones of bison are supposedly very valuable over there. Python ban was back in the news today. This time the news actually provided some expert statements on the subject, which was kind of nice to see for once. The first statement comes from Kenneth Crisco, I believe is how it's pronounced. Kenneth is the senior biological scientist of the Division of Herpetology in the Florida Museum of Natural History. Kenneth states that Florida's problem is accountability. That in Florida, he says it's illegal to release any non-native animals into the wild, which I know it isn't here in California too, without prior written consent from the Department of Wildlife. And he says that to date, not one person has been prosecuted for releasing an exotic snake into the wild. That, it makes a lot of sense to me. It's Florida can't, and I mean, how do you know? How do you know who's releasing them unless you catch them red-handed? How do you prove it? And so, okay, I understand it's a hard thing to enforce, but they can't enforce their laws as they stand already. How are they going to enforce another law? I don't know. The guy makes sense. They have yet to prosecute one person. So maybe they should step up their enforcement practices and training on their enforcement officers and start prosecuting these people to show them that they will go to jail and have hefty fines if they release snakes into the wild or any wildlife into the wild. Andrew Wyatt is a python breeder and is the president of the United States Association for Reptile Keepers. He says the position of the Interior Secretary will have a rough time in light of real scientific and legal scrutiny. He says there are a lot of fairy tales promoted as fact in the law. Frank Mazzotti, Associate Professor of Wildlife Ecology and Conservation at the University of Florida, said, eradication of the Burmese python is no longer achievable. He says, however, with the mortality of the pythons with the recent cold spell, it is their hope that nature along with science can help achieve their goal. We'll have the whole story, all the statements, pictures, everything up there in the sidebar, so you can click on it and go check that out. But anyway, moving on. Scientists have finally come to an agreement, or at least an understanding, on what killed the dinosaurs. They say it was a 15-meter long, which I believe equates to 138.9 mile wide asteroid hitting the Earth 65 million years ago. 41 expert scientists from around the world sat down and studied 20 years of paleontology and like practices and came to the conclusion that that's what the evidence points towards. I'm not sure exactly what they're getting at with this conclusion other than to state that from here on out the scientific debate on what killed the dinosaurs is over, and it is what it is. It was an asteroid, a big ass asteroid. Now back down to Collier County. Greg Curry was sitting on a tractor mowing when he saw a snake and thought, wow, that's a big snake. That snake turned out being an 11-foot long Burmese python. The python was captured and turned into the National Park Service, who plans to euthanize it for studies. Yeah, our good government wants to kill something else to study it. That's probably why aliens will never make themselves known. They're too scared of being killed to be studied. I don't know about you, but I've been able to study a lot of living things. It's a lot funner to study living things than dead things. But anyway, that's just me. Okay, that's all the news for today. And your question for March 2010, is what do you think killed the dinosaurs? Do you agree with this asteroid idea, or there was a mention in the article about some scientists thought it was volcanic activity? Yeah, what do you think killed them? Personally, what I believe killed the dinosaurs was bureaucratic government red tape. They just couldn't handle it anymore, and they all put guns in their mouths. Yeah, I think that's what did it. Anyway, if you want to read any more of these stories, links are up in the sidebar. Click on them, check the vlog, check the website too. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And we will see you tomorrow with another daily dose of reptile news.